Well, I'm forced to tell it like it is, which I have been doing. And this is spontaneous and just thinking chronologically what are the true facts. I was a super patriot, put forward proof towards the validity of fusion energy, and that, of course, is the top project, and what best to do internationally, what to do as far as domestic issues and international issues. The only thing is that appears though, being Italian descent and Catholic, I was on the outs with Hoover there, and the Church of England, the head of the Church of England is the king or the queen. In other words, a human person says they're the authority of the religion that they have, and they are vicious towards Catholics, and especially Italian descent Catholics or Spanish descent Catholics. You get right to the point is that Kennedy didn't shoot himself. He was representing what the U.S. could futuristically be, even for everybody upbeat. They were saying like Camelot even, which is I think an English term. Everything would be upbeat. Personally, he was making mistakes. I say them as they occur and as I think of them. I was within 10 feet. If it wasn't Marilyn Monroe, it sure was her double. Her and I, she's tiptoeing underneath the White House going in through a side door, and I'm trying to get justice for my science inventions and for Hoover experimenting my brother to death. And my immediate reaction was, Jack, you stupid jerk, that's real trouble. I tell it like it is. Now, as far as what I've done, well, it isn't what I've done, it's what I haven't done, really. I've done more overall in disciplines, more than any man in the history of the U.S. Now, in science, what is obtaining honors and money and staff, quantitatively, certainly by what he could get patents, because they won't let me get a patent, is Edison. But Edison, number one, was the electric bulb. It was more necessary, more useful. And then the photography and the phonograph, three top that are used every day. But as far as science and the future of science, in my opinion, I'm number one. Light amplification, electromagnetic radiation. I took light, amplified it, stimulating a ruby crystal. It's electromagnetic radiation, laser. And I said it was the futuristic multi-purpose coherent beam. And the first thing I did with it was to apply it towards helping sightless people. I used to attend some of their meetings, etc. Now, what the Hoover and Hoovers do is to use, misuse, and do away with. And that, to me, was, of course, contrary to the laws of God, humanity, the rights of our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, civil rights, right? So, you say, well, what can you do about it? Yeah, you just say, yeah, we want you to fight with us. Yeah, we have the power. Everything you do, we take and use it against you, your family, your father's family, your brother, everybody. Yeah, we keep track of it. It gives us more and more. If we can beat you, we can beat anybody in the U.S., the world. And so they have a tremendous backlog, and they have quack artists that say, well, if you do this towards getting you a negative and not as good as you are, and try to keep you where they control you, and then say, yeah, see, you do the work and we grab it and it's ours. That's what they said. What's ours, what's yours, it's ours. So, yeah, let's see what you can do about it. Do you understand? So they have quack artists get top money, figure negative. Now, what is the intelligence, the sanity of these psycho quack artists, right? Getting the highest probably money, because they're supposed to be so smart, and educated. Now, they take and figure out negatively how to violate, like I say, God's rights, human rights, rights to the Constitution, Bill of Rights, civil rights. They take and figure out how to do that against any citizen that they want to do away with or experiment on or control. Now, what kind of a mentality does that quack artist have, right? They are quack artists, Hoover, criminally insane, homo Hoover. I call him homo Hoover. That's about the polite way you can put that fiend murderer. Yeah, he actually murdered a top lawyer that wanted to replace him legally. Actually murdered him, and then was going to bury him at the time. It was being buried at the time that I was going to go to his offices to say, yeah, I signed, and this lawyer represents me, and we're going to go after Hoover legally for crimes against citizens of the U.S. You put this on a boisterous analyzer, it proves I'm saying the truth. Now, because I was in the Justice Department tapping a desk with a supervisor and say, you get that Hoover down there. He works for the Justice Department. And they look at me, hey, you mentioned, I think he seems to control the president. That's what the power the fellow has. I can't tell him to do anything. But you get that fellow down there, he insists on a lie detector test. All right, he just takes a lie detector test, and I insist on a lie detector test, and we'll see who's telling the truth. They turned white and shaken, and I think some of them actually dropped their pen or pencils, and they turned around. Nobody was doing any, stopped all their work. Wow, holy crap. You're talking about somebody that can kill you. And then I had a fellow walk by me and put cardboard up to his mouth and say, you got to be real careful, he's going to get you. Let me see the exact words. You got to be careful. You're on the outs. Now, yeah, I'm not alive because whoever wanted me to be alive barely survived accidents. Do you understand? Now, what can I do? I've tried, actually, presidents. I don't know, you get attorney generals, senators, the intelligence committee, lawyers, newspapers, sent book out. Well, what can I do? Well, there's the internet. Now, the internet can get to the public, and I'm at where I think it's called a court of last resort. Is the public knowing the truth and the public opinion, saying, hey, you're doing that to them because you're doing that to all of us, really, at the same time. A blanket. They're going to control. Why? Because they're going to have the Anglo-U.S. at the top of the pyramid of power and control. Well, then how could they have Kennedy? Or now this black president? They ain't going to do the fighting. How many sons or daughters, this girl now, how many sons or daughters fought in the trenches in Iraq? Not one. Not one was, I think, even in the service. Do you understand? They need to be at top with the big wheeling and dealing of the munitions and making money and more And then the poor say, well, you're poor, you haven't got a job. Well, look, we'll give you money, you join the service. You might die, but look, you take a chance. And they need the people that are down, that doing the rugged work, the masses of the people to go over there and say, yeah, we'll go over there and kill those Arabs. Why? That's what the Zionists want. The Zionists were killing the Arabs. Now the Zionists sitting back making money in the U.S., and sons and daughters are killing the Arabs. Isn't that the true fact? They say, well, the enemy. You think about it. Iran was our friend, Iraq was our enemy. Then Iraq was our friend, Iran was the enemy. Now it's anybody's our friend, and Iraq's the enemy. Afghanistan was our enemy. No, Afghanistan is our friend. Russia's our enemy. They helped the Afghanistans. Not the same ones. They helped the Afghanistans are our enemy, and they're killing them. The man said over and over again for at least a year, you're giving the Zionists, the difference between Jewish people and Zionism. Jewish people is a religion. People that believe in their Jewish religion. Zionism is a nationalism like Nazism. Understand that. They have now put, of all people that have people in like concentration camps fenced in and controlled, is the Arabs. They say the Arabs are subhuman. Of all people to do that. The Nazis did that to them for 6 years. They've been doing it for over 40. Isn't that a true fact? You can control it. And if anything about it, weapons of mass destruction, they get up and walk out of the UN. Well, why don't we kick them out? The most in number of violations are the Zionists who control Israel. The most. Well, why aren't they kick? The U.S. vetoes everything. Everything that they try to do to get them in line, to sign where they won't use nuclear energy and so forth, the U.S. vetoes. So they do what they want to. That's a true fact. You look it up. They got more. They talk about well, what we have done is the policy. Now, I think Patton was the top, or certainly a top military man. And his opinion is that the English descent people are going to, that's the language of the world and control the world, and it looks that way. And that's the way they're going at it. Well, the other countries are saying, hey, no, you're not going to control us. Well, somebody, maybe you can guess who, when he was a super patriot, said, in my opinion, and maybe in my expert opinion, nobody's ever beaten them going from west to east. It might be the only way is from south to north. So now they have bases all on the south surrounding Russia and China. Isn't that a true fact? Now, I said, look, you are violating the laws of God, humanity, the rights of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and civil rights. And they get a president up there with a prepared speech. If there's one man or one woman that needs justice, when I'm president, they will obtain that justice. And they say that every one counts, every one of your votes counts, and every one of you count. As soon as he gets in the office, nobody can see him except the ones that got the high money to help them get buddies got in there, wheeling, dealing with them. Like Slick Willie Webster was considered a backroom cloak and dagger man, became director of the FBI, and from there, director of the CIA. That's a true fact. And it was Slick Willie Webster that got together with the English to falsify the reports, because they had 50, they needed 51 votes in the Senate. And after falsified reports, they got one more vote, 51. He Now the coward of Vietnam, he ducked Vietnam because his father was a buddy of Hoover's, and I've mentioned that he would have him run here, there, and everywhere on purpose. It was kind of an errand boy for him. Then he rewarded him, made him director of the CIA. These are all true facts. Sure, I'm risking my life. I'm risking my life all the time. I'm the original 007, and that's where I'm getting to now. This is a real, maybe reality presentation. That from now on, anything I do, I'm going to have up front. They hit me and then say, all right, we hit you 24/7. Sooner or later, you're going to succumb. You're getting older, more injuries. Yeah, anybody's ever been in their way, they have knocked off. President Kennedy, Martin Luther King, that lawyer, and the representative who died on the train, the great FBI hero Melvin Purvis wanted to replace Hoover, and he was found dead. Hoover said he shot himself. Robert Kennedy, nobody can say I was there and tried to save his life. But they got him to ignore me, and I talked to him face to face twice, like I'm talking to you. You say, well, we can't go up against that power. As a population in the U.S., you sure can, because you have the numbers, the votes. And you can say, well, who? Why not me? If I was pres, what do you think would happen to all of those corrupt Hooverists that are experimenting on Americans and doing war, small wars, making money? They got to do it because they want the U.S. to be number one. Number one in what? In controlling their population because they need them as the foot soldiers? And who in that country goes as the foot soldiers? Is it the sons and daughters of the president, the vice president, attorney general, the senators, the rich, the real powerful rich on Wall Street? The Zionists will go over to Israel and fight there. They had an American kill the president of Israel because he was going to sign to allow Palestine to become a nation the night before. You look it up. Well, how they're working it, that's a true fact. Now, what will happen is that eventually this U.S. population spontaneously will say, enough is enough. It's been too much of us getting killed and doing all the work, and we're getting worse and worse as a real society. The rich are getting richer. The top at the top are pulling away faster. And those from like 50% of the entire U.S. is now below what should be where they're safe. They can keep their home, and their job and their home. They can't do it anymore. They want that top in control. And that's the way they're doing it. By the population becoming aware and voting. At the moment, I think his name was Joe something. And his wife was a secret agent. And they exposed her on purpose, risked her life and those that were connected with her, just because they wouldn't fall in line and say, you work with us, we control who we want, and we do it our way. And he says, hey, that ain't right. Then you're on the outs. And you could die, and they'll say, hey, you shot yourself. Hoover report. So you have to understand that they are criminally insane, psycho, wacko Hoovers. That's what the heck they are. That's the true fact. And so I'm forced. Yeah, sure, I risk my life. But now it's a 009, and I've done that before. Had morning, noon, and night program to lift the girls in this country. Because if it wasn't for the girls in this country, yeah, the mothers especially, taking care of the kids and working, this country, I think, would be gone up. It wouldn't be anywhere near possibly to sustain. Because more and more of the men, it's all divorce. And then a divorce judge with divorce lawyers tell the girl, well, yeah, they get her to bring it. And she doesn't understand that it's only natural for men to want to do something to even help another girl. Oh, right away they got the society. That's mental cruelty is what they use. No, as long as he takes care of the children and you wanted the big football hero that had 10 girlfriends. All right, he picks you. Now overnight, he can't even look at another girl. Come on, you got to be realistic, you see. In Brazil, there are 3 women, I think, every man. They don't talk about it, but every husband has at least 1 girlfriend. The priests over there bringing girls off the street, or they would die. I don't know what the priest does at nights or holidays. That's none of my business. He keeps those girls from dying, and then he preaches what he believes, and you go to church for what you believe, not for what the priest says or does. Huh? When you go to church because Christ said that's a commandment. So each time I have a program now, I'm going to mention, like they hit me, I'm going to hit them with the truth. Hit the public with the truth. You're going to either rise up or keep falling down and be subjugated like they have you. That's what it is. You may have a nice home and a nice job and all that. Yeah, you're the lucky ones up there that's doing that. That's what you want. Fine. But the ones who are doing the fighting, eventually they're going to say, you go over there and do the fighting. You go over there yourself. Or your sons and daughters do the fighting. What? I've got to stay here at the bank and count the money because I'm honest. Not those crooks on Wall Street that you bail out. Isn't that the truth? That's the way it's going to be. And to all those who, of course, notices the truth and appreciate what I present, I thank you.